All right. See the dude over there in the gray jacket, right? So the New York Predator Department, again, engaging in synchronized movement. All right, as soon as I came out the elevator, heading towards the door, I saw him walk past, and at the exact moment, the New York Predator Department used their sirens. Also, as I was getting ready to go and get my daughter from school, the New York Predator Department used their sirens after Alba Mysteriosa, in the TF in California, called me. She called me, and usually when this stuff is happening, it's because, they're being influenced. Like, she's being influenced. All right, because she knows I leave the house at around 2 o'clock to go pick up my daughter. So why are you calling me at that time? All right, and think about it, right? Why are you calling me at that time? And then, because I didn't answer, I was sending her a text. The New York Predator Department used their sirens. So again, the use of microwave radio wave frequency weapons to manipulate people in such and such. Just like yesterday, my sister calling me because she's telling me that she wants to give me money to send to my brother because she forgot her password to her account. I said, okay, but I would have to download whatever app you're using, create my own account to send him money, when all you got to do is just, create a new password, right? I mean, the most sensible thing. Okay, then, like I said, when I got home last night, and I was in the kitchen, and I was talking to her, and again, trying to use my daughter as a coercive threat to try to get me to become silent of me being targeted. So they remember, their position is to always try to stop me from exposing what it is that they're doing. And the more that I show it, is the more they'll attack me. But like I said, I welcome the attack in the sense that I get to expose everything that they do. I get to expose everything that they do. So when they do it to somebody else, I said when they do somebody use the sirens. I said the word when, using the sirens. But anyhow, when they do it to somebody else, people will be more familiar with their tactics and their method, and they will know that they have been microchipped, one. Two, they are being victimized by a criminal network. Okay, this is an organized criminal network. All right, that are engaging in organized crime. And though there are those within Predator law enforcement that are part of that organized crime, and those within the government, rogue agents, which you want to call them, rogue Predator police officers, rogue agents within the U.S. government, right, that have embedded, right, the criminal element within the society, or they have criminalized people in your community to engage in these sort of behavior, right? And remember, make no mistake about it, it is criminal, right? Go look at the law. Go look at conspiracy against rights. It is a criminal offense, right? Tampering people's mail, delaying people's mail. On packages, it is a criminal offense. See, a lot of the time, they don't think that they're committing crime. So they may think, okay, well, we didn't outright steal his or her package, but we'll delay it. Again, that's a criminal offense, right? Or they may just outright steal it or destroy your package. Again, that is a criminal offense. So the fact that they don't believe that what they're engaging in is criminal, and again, I use the word belief, because again, when you have conditioned people to be believers, you can manipulate them any which way you want. You can get them to commit criminal crimes, a criminal act against anybody, or any group of people, and they believe that they have not committed any crime because those in positions of authority has given them the okay and have instructed them to do so. And I talk about the Stanley Milgram experiment, the Stanford Milgram experiment. And even when there is no authority involved, there is what is called a condition of anonymity, right? When their faces are hidden, when they do it in secret. You know, just as the Darren Brown experiment, right? And just go look at YouTube, Darren Brown game show, and watch it, and you'll see the lesson. See, they thought that they had power over a person's life, and they did, right? But the experiment was not on the person itself, right? Because they have been lied to about that person. And it goes to show you that people who have a believing mindset, how easy it is for them to be manipulated. And instead of making choices to help that person, right, the majority choice that was made was to destroy that person's livelihood, right, that person's reputation and so forth. So we see this happen over and over again. Every couple of years they do these experiments, and the experiments never yield any different kind of result. That is that people within the society, whether they are emboldened by those in positions of authority, will commit some of the worst crime against other human beings, right? And also when people are given condition of anonymity, meaning that, you know, when they do things in secret and when no one can recognize and know who they are, they will also do some of the worst crimes against people within the society or individuals within the society. And that's just human nature. When you look at human nature, again, if you allow people to engage in this sort of behavior. So look, and JMP 3261, right? So let me, again, we see it. That's right, just do it. Please do, please do, please do, please do. He said, I didn't notice what he's looking at. He looked at the sign right there. All right, when I talk about the subliminal message that they engage in and so forth, you know? And I talked about that too, how see how they refreshing their subliminal message, you know, to just do it. Right? Now they used to do that when they target me and when they monitor my emotions and I would get angry. They will send people with the Nike t-shirt that says just do it, right? So let me put these into context. Right? Being targeted in the matter you're targeted, homeless guy. Look, they put them over here now, right? That's how desperate they are. Give you an example. So I talked about this a lot earlier in my targeting. When I was being targeted and I would get angry. And I tell you guys one night I was walking home, right? And you know, again, people would show up wearing the t-shirt, just do it. Get on my block, and you know, one of the individuals that I grew up with, you know, junior high school, we were very good friends. Actually, we were the best friends at the time, right? In high school, right? And haven't spoken to that person in years because, again, you know, the reason being because a person never was. Some people are just never really your friend. Some people, even if in your teenage years, you have friends that are just going to use you and manipulate you and put you into a situation where, you know, it could be your detriment, right? So I haven't spoken to that person in well over a decade. So I'm, you know, guy on my block, very angry about being targeted. This person calls me over, tells me he wants to show me something. I said, okay, I want, you know, whatever. Opens up the trunk of his car, pulls out a box, and in the box, opens the box, and there was a gun in the box. All right? And I'm saying to myself, why is he showing me this? You know, this, like I said, there's just little things that in where I didn't fall for, you know, certain things. And, you know, I'm just like, okay. I was like, oh, it's nice. Do you want to hold it? No, I'm good. I want to hold it. It's okay. I'm like, listen, I got to go. All right? Went home. Okay? The next day, get up, went to work. On my way out, people on, person on the block wearing a t-shirt, just do it. It's the same thing like when me and Pam get into an argument, I did a video on this, all of a sudden I'll see vehicles with the license plate, with the first three letters in the license plate is KLL. All that missing is what, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I always said, man, if I didn't have a son at the time, it would probably be the high percentage that I would have probably bought that gun and such and such, right? Because they get you so angry, how they manipulate you, how they try to destroy your life. And then they'll say, oh, this person went crazy. He went, he went postal, right? I remember in the 80s, 90s, there was a lot of postal workers that was going postal. It was because they were being targeted on the job, right? They were being targeted. Okay, now you don't see these things anymore, right? But what you have seen and what you still continue to see is you have postal workers who will literally stick her fingers in her ears, look at her keychain. Let me see if I see it. Oh, she turning, huh?
How much the babies were born at birth.
Trying to show me her keychain, right? And it has a brown tag on the keychain, right? Not brown tag, but a brown leather, tag or whatever it is. There's always something on the keychain, right? There's like a brown leather handle, a holder, something like that, whatever you call it. But anyway, right? So like I said, but now what you see with the postal workers is that you see them hoarding people's mail, right? You have postal workers who have thousands of mails in their homes, right? Now, it is a federal crime to steal anybody's mail, right? But these people are stolen thousands of people's mail, thousands of mail. Right? So again, criminal organization, and you have people who are involved in destructive cults, right? And these are the type of behavior that they would engage in. These sort of things, right? So when I decided that I was going to learn everything that they did and teach it to people, particularly TIs, so that they will not be manipulated into doing things that are detrimental to themselves and to others. Like I talk about my twin brother, how he was targeted, how he attempted to engage in self-deletion 3 times until I started to explain to him what was happening, until I started to explain to him the psychological program and how they do these things. And now he's much more educated. And that has never happened since. So education is key, right? These people are criminals. Make no mistake about it, right? That's why it's important for you to know the law. When it comes to stalking and criminal stalking by groups of people, there is a law against that, right? It is called criminal conspiracy. Criminal conspiracy against your rights. So you need to know that. And they will be held accountable. That's why a lot of times they don't show their face. Because they're a bunch of pussies, they're cowards. And they will use young people at times because they make young people believe that they're not going to be held accountable. And that's not true. Young people will be held accountable. All right? You see in states where they're charging young people as adults. Right? Doesn't matter what the crime is. Right? Look, HXA 2322. Right? So this is what they do. And then they will attempt to threaten you as a TI, right? For exposing them. Threaten to assassinate you. I said, go ahead. You're just going to keep proving me right. See, everything that they do, based on their psychopathic, narcissistic, diatribe personality traits and type of their personality, they're just proving us right. So like I said, for TI, all you gotta do is expose it. Document your experience, and you will see. Because they want to silence you so bad that they're going to expose themselves in order to do it. And that's when you document. That's when you can prove it. And they're going to also prove that you're right. And what you're saying is the truth, right? So keep documenting. If you're a TI, you document. If you're too afraid to document as a TI, there are those of us that are doing it for you. Like I said, this is bigger than me. You know, these people are not concerned about level up picture. Right? They are increasing the dark triad of the narcissistic personality trait within young people, including children. All right? Okay, talk to you guys in the video.